Hello, fellow debaters. I'd like to show you how to research for team policy debate and how to format evidence cards in line with the NCFCA format. To begin, we need to know what we're researching. For instance, let's say that we are negative against the affirmative case of cybersecurity sanctions against China. So first of all, you want to just search and go to our friendly little browser, Google Chrome, and go to Google and search China sanctions bad. We're searching the general topic and which side we're on this topic. This way you can find general arguments about your side of the case and then go into more specifics about finding statistics or specific examples that will fine point and get even better evidence. But for now, we just went general evidence about sanctions, China, bad. Okay, our first promising article is this one right here. Why it could be challenging to sanction Chinese companies. That sounds promising. Alright, this is from New America Weekly, and look, it talks about cybercrime, so this is going to be right on topic for us. So you first want to, a good rule of thumb is to start with a conclusion. Look and see what the concluding thoughts are of this article. Alright, it says that Chinese companies that profit from cyber theft it's hard to argue they shouldn't be punished. So it's obviously saying that China's doing something wrong. And it seems like sanctions have proven themselves a potent tool, so I think that they're a very powerful tool and a useful tool. But they don't know how the United States will use sanctions and will it use sanctions. The fact that they're saying it doesn't know why means probably somewhere in the article is going to talk about possibly drawbacks or problems using sanctions. So next I'm going to go through, and you can either read this through entirely, or if you really feel like just finding evidence, you can skim it. Now as I'm skimming this, I see talking about the cyber sanctions executive order. Talks a little bit more about cyber hackers and the specifics here, where the U.S. normally imposes sanctions. Talks about some questions raised by this cyber sanctions designations. When sanctions are most effective. Okay. Next talks about the list of entities. Talks about like who's going to be on the list. And sanctioning companies who have benefited should be more effective. Next, you've got sanctions policy works by identifying those engaged in bad acts and freezing those. It's difficult in cyber context. Okay, this is a gold mine right here. We just found something talking about, and this whole paragraph goes on to talk about how it's hard to find who's actually hacking you. So this is a perfect piece of evidence to cut for an evidence card. Now, when you're cutting a piece of evidence from an entire article, it's not necessary to take the entire article. You don't need to take this entire page. All you need to take is the paragraph of the necessary information. So I'm going to copy this over to a clean Word document and paste. Okay, there we go. But it's not finished. There are no credentials, nothing to tell us why we should believe this piece of evidence. So the first thing to know is we need to know who said it. Going back over to this article. Up at the top, it says it was by Kendall Berman. Okay, who is Kendall Berman? There's a link taking me somewhere on this website with a bio about this writer. If there isn't a link within the website, just go over and Google the person's name to find a little bit more about them to make sure they're credible to cite and that they can be persuasive and around. So Kendall Berman was a New American Cybersecurity Fellow who previously served as the Deputy General Counsel for Strategic Initiatives in the Department of Commerce. Talks about how she was a Senior National Security Fellow, Technology. Okay, great. And then it goes on to first presidential campaign for Obama, Special Assistant to the President, and this is rather long. The really important part, I would say, is the cybersecurity part and how she served as a Senior National Security Fellow. So I'm going to take these first two sentences, I'm going to copy them over to my Word document above the actual piece of evidence. Alright, and we're going to put her name, Berman. Put her bio in parentheses, just kind of offset it, because you're probably not going to read the whole thing, but it's nice to have a nice long bio. Alright, we've got figured out who said it and who this person is, the background on this person, why we should believe them. Next, we're going to look in when it was said. Same place we're going to go. Right underneath her name, it says September 10th, 2015. Alright, that's our date. We're going to put that in our document. September 10th, 2015. Awesome. But we need to make sure this was actually published in a public place. It needs to be somewhere that could be accessed by anyone, i.e. a newspaper, online, in a magazine article, in a book. So in this case, it was published by New America Weekly. So we would put this published by New America Weekly. But we also need to make sure we're staying true to the author's words, which means we need to have the article title. So we go back over to our healthy little document page. Okay, the article title is, Why Could Be Challenging to Sanction Chinese Companies for Cybercrimes? So we're going to copy this. And by the way, a very quick copy is Control-C or Command-C if you're on a Mac. And then Control-V. Paste it into wherever you are. Okay, we've got who published it, what was the article title. Last, we need to know where New America Weekly published this article. And this was online, so it means we need the URL. If it was a book, you need the book name, probably the ISBN number. If it was in a magazine, probably need the issue number. So just some more things to tell you exactly where it was published. So we've got all of that. As far as more technical formatting goes, the approved font, you can choose your font, but the approved font is Times New Roman 12. And normally you want to have your citations all in italics with no bold. Alright, lastly, I would suggest you underline the name and the date. That way you can quickly pick them out when you're reading the evidence, and you don't have to hunt through this whole long bio to figure out who said it when it was said. Make sure to put quotations marks around the article. And lastly, to save yourself some time, I highly recommend you tag your evidence ahead of time. Because this evidence is talking about how we can't identify hackers, this means that if we pass the affirmative team's plan, nothing's going to happen or things are going to go wrong. So I'm going to say this is going to be a solvency piece of evidence. And let's tag it as hackers unidentifiable. Alright, so there we've got a piece of evidence, and it has the main components you need for credentials. You have the name of the person, you have their credentials, you have the date, you have who published it, you have the article title, and lastly you have the link. Now before we move on, I want to show you a quick tool that can save you mountains of time when you're trying to hunt through large scholarly articles. Because they can have some gold mines of information, but it can be a pain to have to read through 285 pages of a really long professor's opinion about a topic. So over here in this PDF, I have a framework for the U.S. policy towards China. It's only 18 pages long, but let's say I found this on the internet and I wanted to see if it had anything to do with about hackers. So what you want to do is you want to hit Control F on your keyboard. This little finder bar is going to pop up. If it's on a Mac, it's going to be Command F. And I can type in any word to see if it's in the document. So let's try hack. Nothing's, okay, talks about right here. Cyber hacking and cyber espionage. Alright, so let's go to the next one. Cybersecurity and cyber innovation. China does not want its cyber networks to be hacked, and it should not wish to see its development of cyber capabilities isolated from global intervention. Alright, let's go to the next one. Okay, that's all that was in there. No more matches were found. This same thing can happen in a Word document. It also can happen, also can work on a Google Chrome or in any internet page, honestly. So I hope this helps you have a little bit more background on how to research and how to format. It's important to remember to remain honest and open whenever you're formatting evidence. Don't cut out words. Make sure you have the entire article and the author's intent in mind when you cut it. And hopefully you guys can find some great pieces of evidence to help you support your side of the argument.